Picture the question that quietly unsettles a certain kind of person. If something went wrong at 3 in the morning, who would you call? Not who could you call, technically. Who would you actually want on the other end of that phone? The person who'd answer. And just know, for a lot of people, the honest answer is no one. Not because they're hated. Their phone is full of contacts. They have coworkers, acquaintances, people who'd wave at them across a room. But that inner circle, the 2 or 3 people who truly know them, the ones they'd call in the dark, it's empty. Or it had someone in it once, years ago, and then slowly, without any dramatic falling out, it emptied. And if that's you, you've probably been handed the same quiet verdict, either by other people or by your own mind. Something must be wrong with you. You must be hard to love, unlikable, broken in some way other people aren't. But here's what the psychology actually says, and it's almost the opposite of that. Not having close friends is rarely the verdict you think it is. And for a huge number of people, it isn't a flaw at all. It's math. Before we get to the math, though, we have to clear up the single biggest confusion about this whole topic, because the word friendless hides 2 completely different experiences. There is being alone, and there is being lonely, and they are not the same thing. Some people have no close friends and feel genuinely fine. They like their own company. They find meaning in their work and their own quiet rhythms. And the absence of an inner circle doesn't ache, because they never wanted a crowded one. That's not pathology. That's a preference, and a perfectly healthy one. But other people have no close friends and feel the lack like a missing tooth, a constant low awareness of a space that should be filled. Same situation on paper. 2 completely opposite inner worlds. So before anyone decides something is wrong, the first question isn't do you have close friends? It's does it hurt? Because if it doesn't, there may be nothing here to fix it all. But let's talk to the people for whom it does hurt, because that ache has been badly misunderstood. That feeling of loneliness. The researcher, John Cacioppo, spent his career studying it, and what he found is that loneliness is not a character flaw or a sign of weakness. It's a biological signal. It works exactly like hunger or thirst. Hunger is your body's alarm that it needs food, thirst that it needs water. And loneliness, Cacioppo argued, is the alarm that you need people, because for almost all of human history, being connected to a group was the difference between surviving and dying. So that hollow feeling you've been treating as proof that you're broken is actually proof of the opposite. It's your design working perfectly. It's an ancient system doing its job, pointing you toward the connection you're built for. You don't feel lonely because something's wrong with you. You feel lonely because you're human, and humans were never meant to do this alone. Now the math. Because here is the thing almost nobody factors in when they're busy blaming themselves. A researcher named Jeffrey Hall set out to measure how long it actually takes to become friends with someone. The numbers are bigger than you'd think. Roughly 50 hours together to move from acquaintance to casual friend. Around 90 to become real friends. And more than 200 hours to become genuinely close, the inner circle kind. 200 hours. Now ask yourself, when was the last time, as an adult, you spent 200 hours with anyone who wasn't your partner or your coworker? This is the part that lets so many people off the hook they've been hanging on. When you were young, those hours were free. School and college handed you the same people, in the same rooms, day after day, year after year, with nothing else to do but talk. Sociologists have identified the 3 ingredients that create close friendship. Proximity, being near someone regularly. Repeated, unplanned interaction, bumping into them without scheduling it. And a setting relaxed enough to let your guard down. School had all 3, for free, for years. Then adulthood quietly took all 3 away. Your time became scheduled, your interactions transactional. You have to plan to see anyone now. And a friendship that needs a calendar invite rarely racks up 200 hours. You didn't become unlikable. You ran out of hours, and nobody warned you they'd stop being free. And this isn't a personal failing. It's a documented, society-wide pattern. Research tracking people's social lives has found that the size of our networks tends to peak in our mid-20s and declines steadily after. Surveys have found a sharp drop in the number of close friends people report compared to decades ago, a trend some call the friendship recession. Even our brains point the same way. The anthropologist Robin Dunbar found that humans can only maintain so many relationships at once, arranged in layers, and the innermost layer, the truly close, intimate friends, is tiny, a small handful of people, even for the most social person alive. Close friends were always meant to be rare and expensive. So if you have very few in adulthood, you're not the exception. You're, statistically, completely normal. But here's where it gets more personal, because for some people, it runs deeper than hours and calendars. For some, closeness itself learned to feel dangerous. If somewhere early on, the people who were supposed to be safe weren't, a parent who withdrew their love, a betrayal, a home that kept shifting under your feet, you may have learned a quiet lesson. That depending on people is how you get hurt. Psychologists call this an avoidant attachment style, and it doesn't make you cold or unlovable. It makes you careful, self-reliant, easy to be around on the surface, and quietly impossible to fully reach. And so you stall over and over at the acquaintance stage, not because people don't like you, but because the next step, real closeness, requires the one thing your system flagged long ago as a threat. Vulnerability. That's the secret price of a close friend. To get one, you have to let someone actually see you, the unpolished parts, the real ones. And if being seen once cost you dearly, your brain keeps you safely in the waiting room of every relationship, where it's lonely, but never dangerous. And there's one last trap worth naming gently. Because it's so quiet, most people never catch it. Cacioppo found that the longer loneliness lasts, the more it protects itself in a way that backfires. A lonely brain becomes hyper-vigilant, scanning for rejection. So you start reading a slow reply as disinterest, a neutral face as dislike. And without meaning to, you pull back first to avoid being pulled away from. The loneliness quietly deepens the very isolation it's warning you about. This isn't your fault. It's an old reflex trying to shield you. But naming it is how you start to loosen its grip. So here's what I want you to actually take from all this. Not having close friends is, for most people, not a verdict on your worth. It's circumstance. It's a life stage. It's a personality that's content alone, a protective wiring that learned closeness was risky, or simply the brutal arithmetic of hours that stopped being free the day you left school. And every one of those can change, because the door was never that you're unlovable. It was hours and a little risk and a guard you posted long ago and forgot you were allowed to relieve. So if you're content on your own, that's allowed, and you can stop apologizing for it. And if it aches, that ache isn't proof you're broken. It's proof you're built for connection, and that the part of you reaching for it is the most human part you have. You don't need to become a different person. You just need a few hundred hours and the courage to let one of them, eventually, see the real you. If this hit home, go ahead and subscribe. It genuinely helps the channel. And if you want to support these deeper dives, hit the join button to become a member. I'll see you in the next one.